I'm one of the lucky ones. I made a little bit of money. I don't have 50 million to bet with you, but I do have 3 million to bet with you. So this is your offer. $3 million. You put 3, I put 3. Winner takes all. I'm 5 years out the ring. I'm a kickboxer.
Jake Paul, the so-called boxing prodigy, just shocked everyone by rejecting Andrew Tate's $3 million fight offer. Yes, you heard that right. He turned down millions, sparking questions about his motives. Is Jake scared of losing? Or does he only fight when the odds are stacked in his favor? Joe Rogan recently weighed in, adding fuel to the fire by calling out Jake's play-it-safe strategy. Andrew Tate's challenge was bold, direct, and an opportunity to prove Jake's claims of being the best. Yet, instead of stepping up, Jake passed, raising eyebrows across the boxing world. It seems the only thing consistent in Jake's career is his knack for avoiding real tests while boasting about his skills. Rogan and Tate, known for their no-nonsense attitudes, are shining a light on what many are calling Jake's dodging tactics. For a man who claims to take on all challengers, Jake's decision feels more like a scripted move to protect his record. When former kickboxing champion and professional provocateur Andrew Tate called out Jake Paul, the internet exploded. Tate didn't mince words, throwing down a $3 million bet and issuing an anytime, anywhere challenge. But instead of grabbing his gloves, Jake hesitated. Not the suspenseful kind, but the awkward, let me check with my PR team kind. Then came Jake's unexpected pivot, a fight with 57-year-old retired legend Mike Tyson. Tyson, well past his prime, hasn't been a serious contender since the VHS era. Somehow, Jake decided this matchup was a better move than facing Tate, a fighter in peak shape and unpredictably dangerous. It was a calculated decision, sure, but it reeked of fear.
Yeah, he'll never do that, though. He knows. He knows way.
One, he's under contract. And
he's
two,
not his own boss.
And two, he won't do it. He knows better. He might
And it's
say,
funny to say, like, yo, Conor McGregor is scared of Jake Paul and will never box.
Jake's preference for controlled, scripted fights became glaringly obvious. Unlike Tyson, Andrew Tate isn't someone who will play along with a curated narrative. This isn't Jake's first dodge either, but it might just be the most transparent one yet. Jake Paul has made dodging tough opponents an art form. His boxing career reads like a checklist of carefully selected matchups. Former basketball players? Check. Retired MMA fighters with zero boxing experience? Double check. And now, Mike Tyson, a 57-year-old retired heavyweight legend. While Tyson's fame guarantees ticket sales, his age and diminished speed make him far from a real threat. The pattern is so blatant that even Jake's most loyal fans are starting to question it. Joe Rogan didn't hold back on his podcast, calling out Jake's strategy for what it is, calculated avoidance. He's fighting old, undersized guys, Rogan said, echoing what many have been thinking. According to Rogan, Jake's refusal to fight Andrew Tate, a younger, faster, and far more unpredictable opponent, proves he's more concerned with protecting his record than proving himself as a legitimate fighter. Now let's talk about Andrew Tate. He's not some washed-up internet celebrity chasing a quick payday. As a former kickboxing champion, Tate is a dangerous, skilled fighter who poses a genuine threat. Andrew Tate, a former kickboxing world champion with a chip on his shoulder and a point to prove, didn't just challenge Jake Paul, he practically dared him. The $3 million bet wasn't a publicity stunt, it was a statement. Tate knew Jake wouldn't accept, and he wanted to expose that fact for everyone to see. When Jake ghosted him after the initial call-out, Tate doubled down, calling him out again and pointing out the obvious. Jake's career is built on fighting opponents he can control. There's a difference between training and being a fighter, Tate declared, delivering a brutal blow to Jake's entire persona. Prime fighters destroy hobbyists. Jake's silence after Tate's second challenge was deafening. For someone who never stops hyping his fights, Jake suddenly had nothing to say. Fans who were excited about a potential Paul-Tate showdown were left scratching their heads. If this feels like Jake just got rocked by a verbal 1-2 combo, it's because he did. Tate slipped the jab and hit hard.
Two brothers, one cage. Jake Logan, you Tristan. Who comes out alive? You know what? I'm trying so hard to not start internet beefs. I'm really trying not to.
You could say Jake and Logan, man.
Bro,
Don't worry about it.
No, I can't lie. Bro, I'm going through life. I'm trying to live peaceful now. I've got Fed agents in my house. Matrix is after me. I'm just trying to live peaceful. But of course, I have absolute faith in myself and my brother, and I know what we've been through, and I know the kind of men we are.
Smash that subscribe button, because this saga is delivering more hits than Jake Paul ever will in a real fight. Let's break it down. Jake Paul chose to fight Mike Tyson over Andrew Tate, and the reason is simple. Tyson is the safer option. Sure, Tyson is a boxing icon, but at 57 years old and well past his prime, he's hardly a real challenge. Jake knew a fight with Tyson would sell pay-per-views because of Tyson's name, not the competition. Most importantly, he knew it wouldn't threaten his carefully curated record. Now contrast that with Andrew Tate, a fighter in his mid-30s, in peak physical condition, and armed with years of combat experience. Tate is unpredictable, skilled, and absolutely unwilling to play Jake's game. Stepping into the ring with Tate wouldn't just risk a loss for Jake. It would risk exposing him as the hobbyist Tate accuses him of being. Joe Rogan didn't mince words either, saying, "Jake Paul doesn't want fights he can't control," cutting straight to the heart of the issue. Social media erupted with criticism, and the backlash was brutal. Fans called Jake Paul a coward, a fraud, and worse. Even some of his supporters admitted that choosing to fight Mike Tyson instead of Andrew Tate was a terrible look. The internet doesn't forget, and this decision might haunt Jake for the rest of his career. Tate's fans eagerly joined the fray, flooding Jake's social media with taunts and reminders of his refusal to face a real fighter. Tate capitalized on the chaos, doubling down on his challenge and calling Jake out for being scared. It was psychological warfare at its finest, and Jake had no response. Joe Rogan didn't just call out Jake Paul's strategy, he completely dismantled it. "He's avoiding young, competitive opponents," Rogan said, and it's hard to argue with that. Every opponent Jake has faced has either been out of their prime, out of their weight class, or out of their depth. Fighting Andrew Tate could have been Jake's chance to silence critics and prove he's more than just a YouTuber with a decent punch. Instead, he chose the easy way out, and Rogan wasn't about to let him off the hook. Jake Paul's decision to reject Andrew Tate's fight offer hasn't just damaged his reputation, it's exposed the glaring weakness in his brand. For years, Jake has built his career on the illusion of being a fearless competitor. But this saga has shattered that image. Fans now see him for what he really is: a businessman more focused on selling fights than proving himself in the ring. The question now is, where does Jake go from here? Does he continue dodging real opponents, risking more backlash, or does he finally step up and face someone like Andrew Tate? The longer Jake avoids fighters like Tate, the more his reputation will suffer. Tate and Joe Rogan have exposed Jake in a way no opponent ever has, revealing the cracks in his armor. Now, the world is watching. Jake can keep pretending he's the future of boxing, but as long as he avoids real challenges, that narrative will crumble. His empire of hype and half-truths is on shaky ground, and unless he changes course, it's only a matter of time before it all collapses.